The championship belt rests heavy on the shoulders of those who carry it, and right now Cody Rhodes stands at a crossroads that few in professional wrestling history have ever reached. 100 days as the undisputed WWE champion. 100 days of carrying the weight of an entire company. 100 days of living out a dream that nearly slipped through his fingers more times than anyone could count. This isn't just another milestone in the record books. This is the story of a man who bet everything on himself when the world told him he was making the biggest mistake of his career, and if you think you know how this tale unfolds, you're about to discover just how wrong you might be. Make sure you hit that subscribe button because what comes next will change everything you thought you knew about the American Nightmare. The journey to this moment didn't start when Cody pinned Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 40. It didn't even begin when he returned to WWE in 2022 to a reception that shook the foundations of the entire industry. The real genesis of this championship reign traces back to a decision that sent shockwaves through professional wrestling in 2019 when Cody Rhodes walked away from WWE. He was told he would never main event WrestleMania. He was positioned as a mid-card performer at best. The name Rhodes carried legacy, but the corporate machine saw him as just another talent on the roster. So he did something that seemed impossible at the time. He left. He co-founded All Elite Wrestling and became an executive vice president of a brand new wrestling company that dared to challenge the monopoly that had existed for decades. For 3 years Cody built something special outside the walls of WWE. He wrestled some of the greatest matches of his career. He created moments that will live forever in wrestling lore. The emotional triumph at Double or Nothing when he won the AEW World Championship. The blood feuds with the likes of Dustin Rhodes, MJF, and countless others who pushed him to his absolute limits. He was free to tell his story the way he wanted to tell it, but something gnawed at him in those quiet moments between the bright lights and roaring crowds. There was unfinished business. The story wasn't complete. His father Dusty Rhodes never held the WWE Championship despite being one of the most beloved figures in wrestling history. That dream deferred became Cody's obsession. The American dream had to be fulfilled by the American Nightmare. Walking back through those WWE doors in April 2022 required a level of courage that most people will never understand. This wasn't a triumphant hero returning home to cheers and celebration from those in power. This was a calculated risk that could have backfired spectacularly. What if the fans rejected him for leaving AEW? What if WWE buried him out of spite for daring to create competition? What if the narrative became about Cody crawling back with his tail between his legs? None of that happened. Instead, something magical occurred. The reception he received was deafening. Fans understood what this meant. They knew the story they were about to witness. Cody wasn't coming back to be just another wrestler on the card. He was coming back to finish his story. The path from that return to championship gold was anything but smooth. Cody won the Royal Rumble in 2023 and earned his shot at Roman Reigns and the undisputed WWE Championship at WrestleMania 39. The match was everything it promised to be and more. Two of the best performers in the world going move for move in front of the biggest audience wrestling could offer. Then came the finish that nobody wanted to see. Roman retained. Cody came up short. The dream deferred yet again. The aftermath of that loss was crushing not just for Cody but for everyone who invested in his journey. Social media erupted with frustration. Fans couldn't understand why WWE would bring Cody back with so much momentum only to have him fall short at the biggest moment. Questions swirled about whether this was all a mistake, whether the story even mattered anymore. But here's where the narrative gets interesting. That loss at WrestleMania 39 wasn't the end of the story. It was the necessary chapter that made everything that followed mean something deeper. Wrestling isn't about the quick victory. It's about the journey through adversity. It's about falling down and getting back up when every bone in your body screams to stay down. Cody spent the months after WrestleMania 39 proving that setback wouldn't define him. He continued delivering exceptional matches. He continued connecting with audiences on a level that few performers ever achieve. Then in January 2024 he won the Royal Rumble for the second consecutive year. Lightning struck twice. The story was back on track. This time there would be no derailment. The build to WrestleMania 40 felt different from the previous year. There was an inevitability to it that made every moment crackle with electricity. Cody's interactions with Roman Reigns took on new dimensions. The Bloodline storyline had dominated WWE for over 3 years at this point. Roman stood as the final boss that nobody could defeat. His championship reign had become the stuff of legend with defenses that built his aura to mythical proportions. But Cody represented something that Roman couldn't quantify or control. He represented the power of belief. The power of a dream that refused to die no matter how many times it got knocked down. Their face-offs leading into WrestleMania weren't just about two men fighting for a title. They were about legacies colliding and the future of the entire company hanging in the balance. WrestleMania 40 arrived in Philadelphia and the anticipation reached fever pitch. The match itself exceeded expectations in ways that are difficult to articulate. Roman brought everything he had learned over his historic title reign. Cody matched him step for step with a desperation and hunger that radiated through every move. The near falls had the crowd on their feet. The interference attempts from the bloodline created chaos. Then came the moment. The crossroads. The pin. The 3 count. Cody Rhodes was the new undisputed WWE champion. The building exploded. Grown men cried. The finish of the story had finally arrived. Cody held the championship his father never could, and in that instant everything he sacrificed made sense. Now we arrive at the present moment. 100 days into this championship reign, and Cody Rhodes has redefined what it means to be the face of WWE. His reign hasn't been about holding the title hostage and appearing once a month. He's been everywhere doing everything. Defending the championship with pride and honor against all comers. Creating fresh matchups with performers who benefit from sharing the ring with someone at the absolute peak of their powers. The house show circuit has seen Cody night after night putting on clinics for crowds who may never see a televised event. He understands the responsibility that comes with being champion. It's not just about winning matches. It's about representing the company with class and dignity while never forgetting the fans who made this possible. The defenses have been nothing short of spectacular. Each challenger brings their own unique style and story to the table. AJ Styles pushed Cody to his limits with technical wrestling mastery that reminded everyone why he's considered phenomenal. Logan Paul brought mainstream attention and a surprising level of in-ring ability that made their clash must-see television. Solo Sikoa emerged as a monster threat from the bloodline looking to reclaim gold for his family. Kevin Owens and Randy Orton as allies turned occasional rivals created layers of complexity to Cody's title reign that kept audiences guessing. Every single defense matters. Every victory builds the legacy. This isn't a championship reign that will be remembered as boring or uneventful. This is a reign that reminds people why the title should mean something. What makes these 100 days even more impressive is the context surrounding them. WWE is in the middle of a creative renaissance. The product across both Raw and SmackDown is firing on all cylinders with multiple storylines capturing audience attention. The rise of performers like Gunther and his Intercontinental Championship reign. The women's division reaching new heights with stars like Rhea Ripley and Bianca Belair. The tag team scene experiencing a revival. All of this creates an environment where the undisputed champion needs to be exceptional just to stand out. Cody hasn't just stood out. He's risen above. His presence elevates everything around him. When he cuts a promo, the arena hangs on every word. When he steps between the ropes, people believe they're about to witness something special. The criticism that comes with being on top is inevitable. Some fans argue that Cody's title reign lacks the edge that made his AEW run so compelling. They miss the blood and violence and chaos of those wars with the likes of MJF. Others suggest that WWE is playing it too safe with how they're booking him as a fighting champion who always wins clean. These critiques miss the entire point of what this reign represents. Cody isn't trying to be the edgy alternative anymore. He's being exactly what WWE needs right now. A heroic champion that kids can look up to while adults respect the work he puts in. The industry has enough anti-heroes and morally gray characters. Sometimes you need someone who simply represents the best of what professional wrestling can offer. The physical toll of these 100 days cannot be understated. Cody works through injuries that would sideline lesser performers. The travel schedule is brutal with flights across continents and time zones that blur together. Press obligations and media appearances fill the gaps between matches and travel. Photo shoots for promotional materials. Meetings with sponsors and corporate partners. The championship means being the ambassador for the entire company. Every public appearance matters. Every interaction with a fan could become the moment that creates a lifelong supporter. Cody approaches all of this with professionalism that makes it look easy, even though the exhaustion must seep into his bones during those rare quiet moments. Looking at the landscape ahead, the questions become fascinating. Who can legitimately challenge Cody Rhodes for the undisputed WWE Championship? The bloodline story continues to evolve, with Roman Reigns lurking in the background, potentially building toward a rematch that could define the next WrestleMania. Drew McIntyre represents an interesting challenger given their history and his recent character work. The Money in the Bank briefcase holder always poses a threat, as that cash-in can come at any moment. New stars are rising through the ranks who could be positioned as the next big challenge. Carmelo Hayes, Braun Breaker, Austin Theory. The future is filled with possibilities that keep the championship picture fresh and unpredictable. There's also the matter of legacy. If Cody can maintain this championship through the rest of 2024 and into 2025, we're looking at a reign that could rival some of the greatest in WWE history. Not in terms of length necessarily, but in terms of impact and quality. The names that define championship excellence in WWE history carried their reigns with pride. Bruno Sammartino and his legendary runs. Bob Backlund and his old-school heroism. Bret Hart and his technical mastery. Shawn Michaels and his show-stopping performances. Steve Austin and his cultural revolution. The Rock and his electrifying charisma, John Cena and his unwavering consistency, CM Punk and his pipe bomb reality. Cody has the opportunity to add his name to that list of all-time greats if he continues on this trajectory. The championship also represents something bigger than individual achievement. WWE is entering a new era with its partnership with Netflix beginning in 2025. The landscape of how people consume wrestling content is changing. Streaming services and social media platforms compete for audience attention in ways that didn't exist even 5 years ago. Having Cody Rhodes as the face of the company during this transition provides stability and star power that corporate partners value. He can appear on talk shows and podcasts reaching audiences beyond traditional wrestling fans. His story resonates with people who appreciate the underdog narrative and the idea of betting on yourself when others doubt your vision. The influence Cody has backstage shouldn't be overlooked either. Reports indicate he's become a mentor to younger talent, helping them navigate the complexities of WWE's system. He understands what it takes to get over with audiences because he's done it in multiple companies under vastly different circumstances. That institutional knowledge combined with his willingness to help others creates a positive locker room environment. Championships mean more when the person holding them makes everyone around them better. The rising tide lifts all boats, and Cody's championship reign has coincided with an overall improvement in WWE's creative output. Social media engagement tells its own story about these 100 days. Cody's posts generate millions of interactions from fans around the world. Fan art depicting his championship victories floods platforms daily. Video packages and highlight reels created by supporters demonstrate the emotional connection audiences have formed with his journey. The metrics that modern entertainment uses to measure success all point in the same direction. Cody Rhodes as undisputed WWE champion is working on every conceivable level. Merchandise sales reflect this reality as well, with his shirts and replica championship belts among the top sellers in WWE's catalog. The comparison to his father becomes even more poignant as this reign continues. Dusty Rhodes never held the WWE Championship despite being one of the most influential performers in wrestling history. His legacy lives through the wrestlers he trained and inspired, but that one accolade always eluded him. Cody carrying that torch and achieving what his father couldn't creates a narrative that transcends sports entertainment. It's a son honoring his father's memory by reaching heights that seemed impossible. Every successful title defense is a tribute. Every moment with the championship belt is a validation of everything Dusty taught him about this business and about life. 100 days is significant, but it's also just the beginning if Cody has his way. The real test comes in maintaining this level of excellence month after month as new challenges emerge and the pressure intensifies. Championship reigns are defined not by how they start but by how they endure through adversity. The first defense is easy because momentum carries you. The 10th defense requires digging deeper. The 20th demands everything you have left. Cody has shown he possesses the tools to be a long-term champion, but only time will reveal if he can sustain this pace without burning out or suffering an injury that derails everything. The wrestling world watches closely as Cody Rhodes continues his march through history books. Critics wait for him to stumble. Fans pray he keeps climbing. The championship itself seems to shine brighter around his waist, as if recognizing it's being carried by someone who understands its value. 100 days as undisputed WWE champion represents more than just a number on a stat sheet. It represents the culmination of years of hard work and sacrifice. It represents betting on yourself when the safe move would be staying comfortable. It represents finishing a story that started decades ago in the mind of a young boy watching his father wrestle and dreaming that one day he would hold that same gold. The American nightmare has become the American reality. Cody Rhodes stands atop WWE with no signs of slowing down. The championship reign continues evolving with each passing week, bringing new chapters to this already legendary story. Whether you love him or hate him, you cannot deny the impact he's having on professional wrestling right now. This is what happens when talent meets opportunity and someone has the courage to seize the moment. 100 days down and potentially hundreds more to go. The reign of Cody Rhodes isn't just surviving, it's thriving in ways that will be discussed for generations. Subscribe to stay updated on every twist and turn, because this story is far from over.